Welcome to the Kent Lapp Podcast.
I would have started over from scratch, right? Like there's no way I would design a studio to be in a cylinder,
Right.
right?
Is that because the natural audio, like that's just not ideal at all?
It's not ideal. It's hard to treat, you know, and like the reflections kind of, it's nice because the reflections can scatter in a different area, you know, they'll reflect back at a different angle. But, you know, think of like a bass drum, right? Like think of how a kick drum works. If you're taking a sound wave and you're amplifying it through a long tunnel,
right?
You know, like you're in the subway of New York and someone's yelling or sax players playing down there or something like that, like you hear that amplified and it gets exponentially louder until it has something to either diffuse or absorb it. So, you know, it makes it a challenge to do so in a room that's both that small and not a lot of mounting points to put acoustical treatment. So yeah, it's not necessarily ideal. From a visual aesthetic, it looks really cool.
Yes.
And if the space were larger, I think it would be, you know, served for like a really open feeling. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we've seen the complaints, right? Like people say it looks too small and, you know, like what's going on with this and that. And it's like, you know, Joe said it best. It's like, what do you do with 2.5 weeks to get something like this done with those type of parameters? You know, like step up to the plate, do it yourself, or don't complain. You know?
That's
like,
right.
So it was challenging. And again, like Joe's team, they were awesome about getting us everything we needed. Mm-hmm. And it was a pretty seamless process. It comes with its kind of compromises.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Andrew, can you pull up just a picture of the studio? If you go to Joe's Instagram, or maybe if you just Google it, you can probably find it. Because there's I don't know, what do you call it? Like there's like blocks of, is it for the audio where there's like panels on the wall that like come out from the wall a little bit? Is that to help with the acoustics?
Yeah. Yeah. So those we have our
okay, those boxes there. Is that for acoustics or for looks?
Yeah. So the good thing is there's a company called GIK Acoustics, and I think they're based out of Georgia. And the awesome part of what they're doing is they're taking diffusion and kind of merging it with absorption, right? So you've got a 4-inch panel that has insulation, and what essentially happens is that you're creating absorption as well as scattering the sound waves with the design. So on top of that is a hard panel, and that panel essentially creates a scatter for the acoustics or for the sound waves to bounce off of. And that way you're not getting a direct reflection back from that surface.
I see. So just that little bit of design does create a diffusion for sound waves.
Yes, and then having that 4 inches of essentially just insulation behind there absorbs the lower.
So you could if you stuck your finger kind of through the black, what looks like kind of a maze on that 4-inch block, that's going to be soft behind there. That's insulation.
Yep.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. And then obviously there's lights, and is there? On the left, there's like a monitor. Is that just more lights?
Oh, it's more lights.
And then, of course, Jamie's setup is over there to the right. Is there like an air circulation system built in specifically so you can smoke cigars in there?
Well, I mean, by design, yes. So if you see the little air inlets there, the 3 on the wall, everybody had a lot of questions about these, but this is just the return air. So we have air coming in, and then there's an exhaust up on the ceiling. So yeah, there's definitely HVAC coming through the room.
Is he just going to smoke weed here in Austin and no one's going to bother him, or is he going to try not to smoke it publicly? I mean, it's such a part of his podcast, you know?
Right.
Like,
you know, I really don't have any idea, to be honest.
I don't know what Austin's laws are. In Nashville, it's still illegal, but the attorney general, they're not going to prosecute anyone if they catch small amounts of weed. So.
It's been like decriminalized, right? But
yeah,
I mean, most of the time, I feel like, you know, Austin PD just kind of like, get rid of it, or, you know, like we don't want to see it again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can imagine like anybody coming here is pretty excited because they're like, oh, okay, cool. Like I can smoke in the street and just get like a slap on the wrist. So,
right.
Yeah.